Hey everyone, my name is Jason Carmello. I work with Populus. We're an architectural firm that specializes in drawing people together. We do a lot of public facilities, arenas, stadiums, convention centers, projects like that. I've been with Populus for about 15 years, and I've worked on PPG Paints Arena, the home of the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Videotron Center up in Quebec, T-Mobile Center out in T-Mobile Arena out in Las Vegas, the home of the Golden Knights. And now I'm very, very fortunate to work with the Islanders for UBS Arena here in New York. So that's kind of my background. And Lea, I'll let you kind of introduce yourself as well. Lea and I are going to do kind of a quick presentation, and then we'll open the floor. We can answer lots of questions that you may have about kind of process, design, or people, how we can help. So we'll fire away and give it a go, and please jump in with questions. All right, so I think one of the important trends that we're seeing in sports architecture now is that the arena or the stadium, the facility that we design, is not just about the facility itself, right? It's about making the community better and helping the communities. And so this arena project is located in Elmont, New York. It's located near the Belmont Grandstand, right? The third leg of the Triple Crown. One of the largest buildings in North America is the long grandstand located at Belmont Arena, Belmont Racetrack. And so we wanted to use that kind of similar design language to make sure that we're kind of courteous to it and respectful of the design language that was happening at the grandstand. So a couple things going on here. You can see kind of the large retail infrastructure to the right. So that is hopefully a future retail village, and tied together with potentially a hotel, restaurants, dining, shops, and also kind of a public park next to the arena.
I think the interesting part for us here as well is, this is a $1.5 billion private investment from the ownership group, and as Jason said, we're looking to help to contribute and improve to the community, and so this construction project and then the future location obviously is going to also bring jobs and stimulate the economy in the New York area. And then we've also got some infrastructure investments as well.
So this is kind of a zoomed in area, right? We're going to be, the arena is located near the Long Island Railroad Station. So there'll be public transit going to and from it over time as the infrastructure gets built in. There's lots of parking, but what we're trying to do is minimize the footprint. This is going to be a LEED certified project. And like Lea said, there's going to be pockets and areas around the arena and on the property that people can gather, hang out, play. I know that it's important for the Islanders giving back to the community. So just to kind of get everybody the bearings, right? One of the important things about designing a facility we're going to have, in this case, around 18,000 people, is how you get people in and out, and how do you make that a positive experience? We're fortunate for this site to have, it's really a pretty cool site, right? So you're located next to the big grandstand, and you also have the paddock park and all kind of the beautiful trees and ponds and things like that. And so we try to keep all of that infrastructure and nestle this project in kind of the corner of the site, so we can keep as many trees as possible. And so it's located there. And we're trying to really minimize the number of surface lot parking we have. We have a small number of surface parking for VIP patrons in the southeast corner. So then this is just a really quick diagram. How do you get in, right? Because of the New York climate and because of people are coming from all directions, right? In the upper left-hand corner, you've got people coming from kind of a north parking lot and the railroad station. From the south, you might have VIP. From the southwest, you might have people coming from a shopping area. We want to allow entrances at all the corners to get people in as quickly as possible, especially if you're attending a hockey event, cold weather. You're going to want to kind of, get in, get your seat quickly. So we broke ground in September of 2018. We actually started working with the Islanders and their ownership group in May of 2016. So there was design that was ongoing for a couple of years. We broke ground in 2018. And then on the next slide, you can see we've got quite a bit of progress, right? So that was a shot just taken yesterday. So we are scheduled for completion around the fall of this upcoming year, 2021. And so the wonderful background that Lea has behind her is one of the images that we worked with her team to create, right? This is the northeast entry, and this is kind of the main entry of the facility. Recently, UBS has come on as a sponsor. And so this is the main entry into the entry lobby. You can see people are coming from the park. You can see that we wanted to maintain the design aesthetic of keeping as many trees as possible, and also the brick, the warmth of the brick that is also at the big long grandstand near us, and the arch nomenclature, but with a little bit of implementation of a modern feel, right? This is not the grandstand. It's respectful to it, but it is a new facility, and we wanted to kind of blend the new and the old traditions on site. This will be one of the signature elements of the project. It actually takes place on the upper concourse, and it's an outdoor, basically an outdoor public terrace. And so really any patron that has a ticket to the facility is able to access this space, and it'll have pretty incredible views. There will be, places for drinks and food and lounging and lights, and you'll be able to look out to the Paddock Park in the evening and enjoy that space. What makes it special is we want to make sure we provide amenities to not just VIP patrons, but to all patrons. Again, you can see this is the western side. So this would be the view if you were to take the LIRR and you were to get off the train station and kind of walk to your entrance. This would be the western facade of it. You can see that there are obviously the arch design aesthetic with the touch of modern in the middle with the clean lines, but you also have the lighting towers, and those kind of are obviously a tribute to Long Island and the aesthetic of the Long Island Lighthouse. So this image is not the glorious rendering, but this is really important, right? For all of you who care about arena and stadium design, this is a really important slide, right? So the operations of this facility is so very important, and loading concerts in and out, loading teams in and out, loading shows in and out is really important, right? Extra time on load in is extra money. And so we want to make sure we design something that will not only look, have a positive aesthetic, but also really function well. So this is a quick view. It's not built yet, so I'm sorry I couldn't quite show you the construction site. It's getting there, but there's actually a ramp that slides down. It slides down about 16 feet, and then there's it's covered on top. So you can walk above it, but the loading dock, which is the key, and if you go to the next slide, the loading dock, which is really the heartbeat of the facility, is underneath that. And so what really one of the underlying aspects that makes this project special is, there's a 65,000 square foot loading dock underneath the ground that's heated, enclosed, and it allows for TV trucks, access, stage, parking, VIP, player parking, all these things. And it's covered, it's heated, and allows for a quick in and out. There's no turntables, there's no huge change in elevation. It's a really subtle ramp down, and then the talent can get in and out. If we start to kind of work our way inside the facility, this is kind of the big picture shot of the seating bowl. The seating bowl in this view, it's actually broken down into kind of areas within. So there's some premium areas, there's lots of public areas that have special features. On the left side, you can see kind of the standing drink rails in our Loge Club. There'll be areas where public patrons can, nestle up to a drink rail and enjoy the game. So there's lots of different kind of neighborhoods within the seating bowl. But what we wanted to do was blend those in so that there is a really tight, loud, energetic atmosphere. One of the things we try to do was, if we go to the next slide, one of the things we try to do, and this is a section, and I'll try not to get too architectural on these things, but we try to take the section and kind of keep it as tight as possible, because obviously if we can keep it as tight as possible, we can keep it as loud as possible. And we want to make sure that the energy resides in this facility. We know that the Nassau Coliseum has a great vibe to it as well. But we're trying to take that energy with all of the new up-to-date amenities and blend that together. So you can see that the height of the facility is pretty tight.
That was a big piece too in the design, particularly from the Islanders' perspective, to try to keep the intimacy that we have at the current Nassau Coliseum. And really just carry that over into this new, more modern space. So it's coming along really well. The sight lines are fantastic from pretty much any location and any level.
This is a longitudinal section going the long way through the ice sheet, and just kind of shows you how we're just trying to keep that roof with the structure, the major rigging nice. So one of the things that arenas need to function as, of course, it's the home of the Islanders, right? And that is a really, really essential piece. But this facility also needs to accommodate basketball tournaments. It needs to accommodate concerts. And so just a really quick diagram that in the lower bowl, some of the seating in the lower bowl is actually retractable seating. So it has the ability to push in and push out and kind of interchange. It's a bit like a Swiss Army knife. Most of the seating above the lower bowl is fixed, right? So it will not change. But the seating in the lower bowl, especially on the ends, will have the ability to move and change. And you can see on the right side of the three images, that's where the stage on the upper portion of it, that's where the stage would be. So the seats retract back, stage slides in, seats on the floor. So you have the ability to change really overnight. Tuesday night, they could have a hockey game, Wednesday night, a concert, and then back to a Friday hockey game. We have to give the client and the Islanders and the operations staff the ability to mix and match venues. Quick diagram about how we, within the seating bowl, provide different types of seats for the client, right? So really light shade of purplish blue on the bottom right, that's kind of the main concourse club. So those 4 seats, about 1,300 patrons, are in those 4 sections. Then they can kind of come up from their seat and have food and drink in a dedicated club. Right, there's in the red, there's event level suites that tie back into suites that can watch the team go to and from the ice. Same thing with the tunnel club, right? So you're down at the event level and you can see the talent and the players walking to and from. And so the goal is that we integrate these little neighborhoods in, right? So these special amenities are mixed into the design, but when you saw that seating bowl view, it's all kind of looks as a uniform crowd. So you don't have these big breaks, you don't have these big openings. So and when you can tie these things together, that's when you're able to have energy in the crowd. If we're going to do a hockey facility, we have to show this, right? This is the nucleus. This is the genesis of the design, right? It all starts literally from center ice. We work our way back. You won't be quizzed on the dimensions, I promise, but this is just giving you an idea about the importance of the ice floor. Underneath the ice floor, you have literally miles and miles of heated piping. It's heated and chilled, right? And so the ability to melt it and freeze it very quickly. Typically, though, once they pour the ice sheet towards the beginning of the year for training camp, they'll leave it up year round. They'll take it down after the season's over, so they don't have the operations cost, but it's up about 9 months of the year. Couple really quick diagrams before we get into kind of the fun images. Again, this building has to operate and function in a really clean way, right? So this is just a really simple diagram about where the Islanders players come in, right? So they're going to come in, they're going to go to their area, the Islanders, area in that corner if we go to the next slide, right? And then next to it's the visiting team. So they can take multiple paths to get to it, because let's say the Islanders, show up at a similar time, you got to be able to get people to function and move in different ways. If we go to the next slide, right? So where do the officials go? And if the visiting team bus is late, can the officials check in a different area? Can they go a different route? You don't want people in circulation paths crossing. You've got to keep them separate, right? Especially entering and leaving, because if the Islanders lose 4-3, on a tough call, you want to make sure everybody's separated, or the Islanders win 4-3, I should say. Again, media, and you want to keep the media separate too, right? So it's all. These facilities are really critical to understand and plan as we're doing the floor plans, plan ahead, right? What paths are people going to take, and make that as easy as possible for them, as clean as possible for them. Yes, we have wayfinding signage. Yes, we have graphics to help them navigate, but we want to keep them on a really easy path to minimize their circulation. Lea, please jump in on some of these. I know you're familiar. This is the main entry lobby, and again, it's blending the aesthetic of the Belmont grandstand and the arches and the wood and the warmth with kind of the new take on a little bit of a modern aesthetic. So you'll see arches not only on the outside of the building, but those start to come inside as well. But we want to kind of keep it a traditional, welcoming, warm feel when you enter the facility.
And you'll see as the renderings continue, there's definitely a tribute to the heyday of New York, and really some classic architecture and imagery. This main lobby area does evoke a feeling of Grand Central Station as well, and you'll see various references and homages to the great New York of the past.
So different clubs and different spaces will have a slightly different feel, but they're all tied together with making sure clean lines, warmth, and a sense of scale, right? Those three things have to be maintained throughout all of them. This is the main concourse club, right? Those 1,300 patrons. You can kind of see in that image to the right portion of it, you can kind of see and feel the bowl. And you can kind of see that happening, but you can kind of come out here. You'll see the lighting, the linear lights working their way up the soffit, and above that is actually, you see the people above. That's actually people on suite level that are able to look down. This is kind of the longitudinal view of that space. Different facilities. Again, clean lines. This will be actually probably one of the really fun spots of the facility, right? So this is a club that exists down on the event level. And when you're in this space, if you look behind you of this image, you would actually see the visitors through glass. It's actually one-way glass. So you can see the teams can't see you. And again, that we do that for just kind of safety. And so if you look behind you, you would see the visiting team. If you look straight ahead, you can see kind of in the render, the Islanders walking to and from the ice. Pretty incredible feel. You can literally see the players getting ready to do battle. So. It's one of the VIP entrances. Again, warmth is really important. We didn't want to design a facility that when you walked in, it felt like an older venue. We wanted to make sure we kept it warmth and scale and size, and a lot of custom light fixtures. We really wanted to make it a place that felt like, you were home.
Yeah, I think, Jason, there's a question on the Q&A that's asking, with a lot of new stadiums opening up in professional sports, such as Climate Pledge and SoFi, how do we keep the ideas fresh and unlike anything that has been done or will be done in the future? I think some of these renderings sort of speak to that as well. The premium, the premium experience that we're really trying to create here at UBS Arena is going to be a huge differentiator, and not just in the architecture and the layouts, but in the service and the overall experience that we're building as well. And then on top of that, and we're going to probably talk to this a little bit more, the design took in a lot of feedback from artists and promoters, and really from the music industry. And that's to really help create, a world-class experience, both for the artists to come perform, as well as for our fans and our guests. Sorry, Jason.
No, you're good. I think that's a really good answer. The other thing is, the easy answer on new facilities is technology, right? And of course, there's new technology and all those things, but you have to build the infrastructure and you have to build the bones of the arena, whether it's kind of innovative seating bowl and neighborhood locations within that, whether it's flexible spaces that over right now can be this one area, and at another time be another area. You have to build in infrastructure in the bones of the facility and not rely solely on technology to make your arena special and unique. I think there's another question here. Let me see.
Yeah, there's a couple questions. Jason, sorry.
Sure.
Zach is asking about the loading dock. He said it looks like there's room for the 9 trucks, but what about if a tour has 20 plus trucks?
Sure. Yeah, there's room. There's actually a ramp. So there's a ramp to go down into the dock, right? So you're in the dock. There's also a ramp then to get inside the arena. So the retractables come back. There's a ramp to get to the floor. So if you're doing a dirt show, whether it's monster truck or even the concerts, you can literally drive the truck onto the event floor, unload, drive off. We can fit 9 in the docks. You can fit another probably 12 or 13 within the area. And there's also a road that has bollards set on each side on the western side of the facility that can host, another 30 to 40 trucks. So it's actually a 3-lane road on the western side that has the ability to hold all of that, whether it's AV trucks during a sporting event or the 20+ trucks for a concert. You can host them on the western side, some down below and some on the western road that gets cut off during the event. That's a really good question, really detailed question. That's good.
Yeah, and then as far as the event staff, we have designated entry for the event staff and locations where, to your specific question, where obviously they would clock in for their shift, and then we have, our locker room and briefing areas for them.
Okay. This is the space behind kind of the drink rails. This is associated with about 125 patrons with drink rails going in and viewing them in the lower bowl. And this is obviously a dedicated Islanders space that'll be really important to their supporters. Sideline suite level suites. Again, food, beverage, views, clean lines, warm aesthetic, and then obviously views in and out to the bowl. That's kind of the bones of the presentation. We've got,
Go ahead.
Backup slides. Let's open it up for some questions and comments, and what can we help with?
I could share a little bit with you guys from the Islanders perspective, just some of the pieces. I know there's been questions or there's been inquiries. So as far as, our ticket sales and premium, as I mentioned, right, the premium experience and the high level experience is really going to be a big part of what we're trying to build here. We've actually already sold more than half of our premium club spaces. And those do include our previous New York Islander, season ticket members. And then along with that, our season ticket memberships were coming up very quickly on actually being on selling out all of those available spaces. And what we're really seeing, as you can imagine, is with this new stadium and this dedicated home, we're going to see, folks looking to upgrade, and that's been a big part of our sales approach. To get, obviously longer term memberships as well as, upgrades in seating. We've also taken the opportunity to really expand our fan base. So I think what's interesting about the location of the arena is that we are really kind of at the heart of, of New York City and its surrounding metro area, right? So we're not far from JFK, which will help us to create, a great visitor experience as we continue to expand the campus, looking at the retail space and such. We were in Brooklyn, as I'm sure some of you know, for some time, sharing a home there. And so we've built a fan base in Brooklyn and the access really to UBS Arena, now that we're building up the LIRR, and then we have, rideshare opportunities. We really can pull folks from Westchester and Connecticut as they come down, really just really coming down from the Cross Bronx. It's pretty easy on the Cross Island Parkway. So really a much more centralized feel. As far as the fan experience, and then we can stop here. This is a big part, and this will build into our food and beverage and all of the pieces that we are adding in. We're COVID has obviously had us created the opportunity for us to look at a few more things, and as you can imagine, as far as hygiene and sanitization, our air filtration, all of that is going to be state of the art. We are adopting more contactless opportunities, even with concessions and other purchases. So really going to build this a really great fan experience as well. And it has to be touted. It's a big conversation piece. Our facility is going to have 25% more women's bathrooms. So we are making sure that experience for all of our fans is a positive one. We're trying to minimize those lines, which I know is always a big thing at concerts and sporting events. If you could take any questions, I think. Yeah.
I think what Lea had mentioned is really important. A lot of the concessions are kind of the market-based concessions. So instead of the traditional belly up concessions, there's a few of those kind of sprinkled through with some of the traditional fare, but there are so many market-based concessions where you have the ability to get in and out very quickly. You have mixed offerings, grab and goes, things like that to keep people on the move. And obviously with the COVID precautions and things like that, we're looking into trying to keep those things spaced out where obviously everything is safe, and also trying to implement new HVAC ways to obviously filtrate and filter the air.
So there's a couple questions that it's the full home of the Islanders, obviously, but you have opportunities as you're reconfiguring the space, to sort of detract, if you will, from that highlight, and then focusing on the concert, or if we're having a different sporting event. So that will really just depend on the configuration of the space and the event itself.
So in terms of crowd noise, we had mentioned a little bit early on, right? So the facility has to be a blend for concert and events. We pick up in the high roof structure, we pick fabric and baffle materials that, depending on kind of the cadence of the sound, will absorb the sound we want to, but reflect the sound that we don't want. So certain pitches and certain tones, especially in sporting events, that will reflect. During concerts, it'll absorb. So we're particular about that. And again, we try to keep the roof as tight as possible to keep the sound reverberating.
Yeah, the wide suite seats is just really again, building the premium experience, and it's a comfort level and just a differentiator that we can offer. Great.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for your time. Thanks for the really, really insightful questions. And it was great to spend some time with you. And Lea, thanks for all your help.
Yeah, thank you, Jason.
All right, everyone take care. Be well.
Be well, everyone. Have a great day.